The world of roguelikes is vast and varying, and it is my job to review it. Hello everyone, I am the Roguelike Reviewer, and today we will be reviewing Slay the Spire, a deck building roguelike where you assemble a deck of cards to defeat various foes and climb your way to the top of the spire, which happens to be mine and likely many people's first deck building roguelike, which showed me the more tactical side of roguelikes. In fact, this game sparked a surge of deck building roguelikes, so you'll find many of the staples started here. But how did it do it? Fun cards? Strong synergies? The whale Niao? Well, let's dive in and find out. As always, let's start with the gameplay. You start every run at Niao, a whale creature who wishes to assist you on your quest. She will offer you a list of random boons to assist you with your quest. They give you a wide array of bonuses, such as removing some of the starting cards in your deck, obtaining gold, or even some relics for passive boosts. However, if you do lose before the first boss, she will always offer an option to force the first 3 fights to have enemies with only 1 HP. Many of my best runs have used this starter relic to cheese an early elite for a huge spike in power. But that's not all you do at the start of your run, as you'll also get to pick your character, each having their own strengths and weaknesses, as they all have their own unique card pools. The ironclad strengths are block, strikes, and strength boosts, the silent strengths being poison, discards, and generating loads of shivs, the defect strengths being generating helpful orbs, powers, and free cards, while the watcher strengths are swapping between different states, generating cards, and manipulating your deck's order. You can kinda tell which is the most recent character with how complex she seems at first glance. During fights, however, is when this game's complexity truly shows itself. You have 3 energy each turn to spend on your cards, which cost is shown in the top left corner. And you do want to spend this, as you can't hold on to it between turns. Every card used or left in your hand at the end of your turn will go to your discard pile. Then after every card is drawn, this discard pile will then shuffle and become your main deck once more, being one big cycle. To me, this is where the biggest part of the strategy lies, making this deck as consistent as possible. Doing so by removing your subpar cards, adding more powerful cards, or getting more card draw. The system really incentivizes you to have as small of a deck as possible while still functioning. The dream scenario being for every card drawn to be exactly what you want, or more realistically, usable to great. You do still have to be mindful of your energy though. High cost cards may be very powerful, but do you really want that to be your only play this turn? Or are many cheap cards better in this moment? Maybe this turn just isn't a great one to attack. So you hold back, use your energy to block some damage, and then try again next turn for a hopefully better situation. To give more insight into what your best play may be, enemies will actually tell you what they will do on any given turn, be it by attacking, applying an effect, or even blocking themselves. Each enemy will tell you so you can make the best decision, as you will have all the information available. Relics assist in this too, by giving you passive boosts which can help you along the way. Doing a wide variety of things from giving energy, passively upgrading your cards, or just drawing you more cards every turn. Some even allow you to ignore game mechanics like losing energy or discarding your hand at the end of your turns. This game has so much strategy, it is no wonder it is still insanely popular, and set this foundation for the titan of roguelikes that deck builders have become. Many deck builders even often follow this system, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But this game isn't done with ways to strategize just yet. You still have to decide your way up the spire, using a map with different symbols which indicate what you will find, such as enemies or shops or campsites. You can plan a route immediately and stick to it without faltering, or pick a key target or two, so you can reach those and then swap routes at some of the split paths, depending on what happens during your run. You may start by targeting as many elites as possible so you can get some strong relics as your first draft of your route. Then realize you may have bit off more than you can chew and swap routes so you can preserve your run. The name of the game really is strategy. The game wants you to take your time, look at the situation, and make the move you think is best. Whether it be a more dangerous path with risky fights so you can get a boost now that will snowball into a win, or pick a safe path with easier fights so you'll be confident you will make it to that boss. I suppose if you feel extra daring that day, slap a blindfold on and start clicking away after every encounter so you randomly trek for the Spire. Because after all, if you can't see the danger, it can't see you either. It can be a very refreshing experience when most of the popular roguelikes are actually action games. This game strives to take away the focus from learning how to hack and slash your foes to setting yourself up with the best odds of overcoming the Spire and all that occupy it. There's something just so satisfying about having a well laid out plan work flawlessly that you can't get out of games like Dead Cells or Risk of Rain, where the satisfaction typically comes from slashing or gunning down your foes Rambo style. Of course, being more strategic isn't a pure upside though. This also comes with slower, typically less flashy gameplay, which certainly isn't for everyone. There is a reason after all action heavy games are the most popular. Even I tend to lean towards these more action focused games. And I love strategy games. However, this game does do a great job scratching that strategy itch I find myself having, with the added benefit of these games being easier to kick back and relax while playing. Since the game is less action intensive, it doesn't require you actively paying attention every moment, so you can take all the time you need to take everything in. Like, literally, you can start a run, realize, oh crap, I gotta go to work, leave for like 8 hours, come back, and you'll still be in the exact same spot. The fact that this is a real story makes me realize how many dumb things I do playing roguelikes. You may recall, however, this is the first big deck builder. So how do I think it stacks against the New Blood? I think it actually holds up really well. But I do think others in the genre do a little bit better. Nothing against Slay the Spire though, it just comes with being first. People will find ways to improve and innovate upon your system. Monster Train and Inscription being prime examples of deck builders I find more enjoyable. Monster Train being much more like Slay the Spire of the two, having a very similar deck, energy, and relic system, but differs in how the combat goes and how you go about fights. Each character being either a monster or a spell, meaning it's more like commanding a small army than it is fighting as your own character, which I think allows for more unique synergy opportunities, as these creatures will synergize with each other in unique ways that you just can't quite do in the context of being one character. While Inscription focuses more on the story, and has a really cool blend of energy systems from other card games that mesh really well together. I also think the idea of mashing card abilities together leads to limitless deck building decisions and things to try out. Speaking of story, Slay the Spire at the moment doesn't really focus too much on its lore, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I do think it's the weakest point of the game. I legitimately didn't even really remember much of anything in regards to lore before looking into it for this segment, either from me blatantly not reading it, or just from not paying attention to any flavor text in literal years. But regardless, there isn't really much here. From what I understand, Niao is an ancient being with a grudge against the Spire, or at least the corruption within it. And using her powers of resurrection, she sends warriors up the Spire to defeat it once and for all, no matter how many attempts it takes. These warriors only remembering fragments from their past lives. Then finally, after defeating the corrupt heart of the Spire, Niao then goes to rest, along with the Spire until whatever will happen in the sequel, which is currently being developed. Like I said, not really much here, at least where overarching story goes, and I do really hope to see more in the sequel. Moving on from the lore to the characters inside, I think the playable characters I mentioned previously are all very uniquely fun, and show many different ways to utilize a deck building game, each having their own great blend of defensive and offensive strategies to utilize. My favorite, however, is definitely the Silent. I feel she represents best what I enjoy from deck builders. A calculated strategy coming all together, as she has a lot of tools to increase consistency, drawing and discarding tons, setting yourself up for a stronger next turn with cards that buff you on the next turn, poison which revolves around watching your foes wither away helpless to stop you, or just stabbing the hell out of them with a near limitless supply of shivs. All these options are very satisfying to me, and really help make me feel like a cold, calculated assassin. As an added bonus, she has cards that allow you to cheat the system, with a card that can make your other cards free, or you can just straight up become invincible for 2 turns. With some pretty heavy drawbacks though, so make sure you use these cards properly. While in recent years, I don't find myself coming back to Spire, as I tend to play different deck builders or entirely different games in general, I can't deny the impact this game has had, and how much fun I had coming back to it. As such, I rate Slay the Spire at 8.2 out of 10. I love deck building roguelikes, and we have this game to thank for it. I look forward to seeing and eventually reviewing this sequel. Thank you all for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any recommendations, please let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, if you could like the video and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. And with that, I will see you fellow rogues in the next review. See ya.